Hi, besties. I don't think I've ever introduced myself on this account, so let's get it done, okay? I was born and raised in Mexico until I was 12 years old. At 12 years old, it was 2008, and reporters were turning up dead for telling the truth. Yes, exactly. Reporting the truth gets you shot, is what I was learning when I was 12 years old and moved to the US. We had visitors' visas. You're not supposed to stay and live in the US when you have a visitor's visa. And so, what you learn is how to fly under the radar, is what you would call it, right? How to be quiet, how to be seen, maybe, potentially, but not heard. However, there was this really intricate dynamic with me personally, right? Because I went to this English second language program, and 44 on the timer. In this program, they had a news station come to the school to interview English second language speakers. We had some Burmese people. Burmese, yeah, from Burma. They were going through a lot more. I didn't realize because I was trying to learn English. And hold on. 1:13 on my timer. I got interviewed by this news station, and I was on the news at 12 years old. And what I said was that I was going to do whatever it took. By any means necessary, I am going to learn the language. And then I proceeded to go and do that. I said, if it takes learning a million words, and that's exactly what I'm going to do at 12 years old, right? So when my dad watched the segment on the TV, when the segment came online on the TV, my dad, 144, laughed at what I said because he didn't think that there were a million words in the English language until he looked it up, and then there were a million words in the English language. 155. It's a memory that's just like very stuck in my head, right? Just the laughter followed by the, oh, I realize now. Because again, I was very young when this kind of stuff started, right? So we moved to the US, and I was in 7th grade when we got here, and by the end of 8th grade, I was reading and writing at my English level, right? I wasn't speaking it at that level yet, but I was reading and writing it. And there was this opportunity when we were in 8th grade to join the school called Early College High School. And at Early College High School, the point was you get an associate's degree by the time you graduate high school, right? So you're taking college classes with college professors and college students. You're literally going into a college class and taking the class with them, and it counts as dual credit for your high school. For example, I took like some English courses that were college courses that counted as dual credit for my high school credits, as well as some math courses that counted as dual credit. And we were installed the school was inside of a college campus. We had one hallway, right, that just belonged to us. The year that I went into the school was only the second year that this school existed, so opportunity of a lifetime, right? I was listening when this opportunity presented itself, because when I asked my parents why we were coming to the U.S. to begin with, they said, it is the land of opportunity. Confirmation. Did you hear that, motor? Okay. And so 319, I need to learn how to breathe because I get really, really excited. It's just this everything happens for me type deal thing, you know? So I joined this program. I successfully completed the program. The last semester, I really was just looking at the syllabus points and looking at the bare minimum that I could do. And you hear how quiet it got? That's how quiet I wanted it to be at school, because life is really heavy when you have to walk around trying to be invisible. And it really keeps you from defending yourself, from self-advocacy, from even listening to your own body, your own pain, your own needs. It goes to the back burner. Hold on. So I completed early college high school. I graduated number 3 in my class of 45. The last semester we lost one more person from the class that started at, I believe, 86, and that was due to a abuse situation in their home, which was very sad that we didn't even realize that any of this was happening until like the end of the school, and that this person had to give up the opportunity of attaining that associate's degree because they had to move to a different town. But we're grateful that they got the help that they needed. Okay, so then as I was graduating college, we were having talks at my school because it was a higher level of education school, right? We were having talks about how many people changed their career or their subject matter, their whatever they chose, right, to study, they typically change it 2, 3, 4, 5 times throughout the time that they're studying because they hit a class and then they realize, oh, this is actually not for me. Thankfully, we also had a lot of 505 people come in and talk about different career paths. I wanted to be in criminology until a criminologist came in and showed us pictures of trigger warning for taking matters into your own hands. Okay, now we're there. 525. Someone who took matters into their own hands in their truck in Texas, where it was very hot in the middle of the summer, and their body was not found for like 3 days. And that's when I knew that I did not want to be in criminology. And then I got this paperwork from the Coast Guard, right? They were like, all you have to do is not do drugs and meet us once a month. What? I I do that already with my parents. Like, I don't do drugs, and I can definitely show up once a month somewhere if you're gonna pay for my education. And so I talked about this to one of my friends, one of my high school friends, and he was joining the Navy. And he was like, you should talk to my recruiter. And then I went to talk to the recruiter through Facebook and through text message separately. She thought she was talking to two different people because when she saw my profile, it didn't match the way that I texted, apparently. And so when we went to make meeting arrangements, then is when she realized that it was the same person. Made it very clear that based on my Facebook profile, she might not want me in her Navy. And I was like, fair, I guess. That's where I started learning about media literacy. And I went to go take the test, the ASVAB, and then after taking the ASVAB, they suggested that I become a nuke, and they threw money in my face, and everybody was wearing khaki, which means higher ranking, and I was like, yeah, this looks like going to school and getting paid for it. I mean, like, it's gonna take more than once a month, right? But I can get paid to go to school, and you're gonna tell me what career path to choose, baby? Yes, let's do it. And so I joined the military and I went to nuke school. And in nuke school, there's a lot of people that failed out of nuke school. There were two women that came in with me, a redhead and a black woman. And I do believe the stereotypes around their appearances had a play in whether or not they were going to last at school, because we worked with, everybody else was a man. Everybody else was a man. I worked with a lot of men. From the time that I left my home at 18 years old, my career was around men. I have gotten to intimately get to know a lot of different men who have given me information that I really could have gone my entire life without knowing. And thus shaped the way I move around the world. Like, your expectation of communication with me has no play in whether or not I will communicate with you. Your audacity to come and intervene and be in my space does not entitle you to a response. And I might actually respond, yes, because I do get irritated. This is not something I hide from anyone. I haven't gotten to the second part of my story, right? All of this happened for me because I did make it through nuke school after also a lot of different people mocking my learning skills, not knowing that I was still learning the language while also attempting to learn how nuclear power works. And so that's why you have to take people's words at arm's length. Again, remind you, the first person who made fun of me for being convicted to something was my dad when I was on TV. And then right before I left for boot camp, my brother said, I give you 2 weeks before you're back here. I had to make it through school. I had to make it at least through boot camp. And then once I make it through boot camp, like, you have to make it through the fucking school. And so while I wasn't the best at writing things down, and I would often freeze while I was taking tests, because mind you, nuke school is not a multiple choice, baby. No. It's write in the answer. And I didn't have the full answer according to like what my level of perfectionism is. And so I didn't write anything down. I was very good at not writing anything down. And so I had ag boards, knowledge boards that are verbal, because 933, I'm very good at talking. As it turns out. And when we're having a conversation, it's easy for me to follow and be present in the conversation. Not tests, though. 944. I don't like tests. I don't like tests. That's it. Come back for, I guess, whatever's next. Love you.